In this rapidly evolving age of technology, a thought-provoking question quietly emerges. Could the world we inhabit be nothing more than an intricately woven fiction? This seemingly absurd idea finds an unsettling resonance in the experiences of a sleepwalker. Let us delve into Chen Xuan's story and explore the boundaries between reality and illusion. Chen Xuan's sleepwalking journey began about 7 or 8 months ago, when he was still working for a large corporation. One exhausting night, he returned home with unfinished code, intending to continue working. However, he unexpectedly fell into a deep slumber the moment his head hit the pillow. To his astonishment, he awoke the next morning to find all the code perfectly completed. This strange occurrence happened a few more times, but Chen Xuan didn't pay much attention to it. He attributed it to temporary memory loss caused by excessive work pressure, similar to blacking out after drinking. Fate, however, seemed to be weaving a larger mystery in the shadows. One day, Chen Xuan inadvertently dozed off at work. When he was startled awake by his colleagues' exclamations, he found his hands still poised over the keyboard, his gaze fixed on the screen. His coworkers told him that he had suddenly sat up and started coding, appearing quite frightening. It was at this moment that Chen Xuan realized the situation was far more complex than he had imagined. Chen Xuan decided to seek medical help, and the doctor diagnosed him with typical sleepwalking disorder. However, this diagnosis seemed insufficient to fully explain Chen Xuan's experiences. Scientific research indicates that sleepwalking usually occurs during deep sleep, while dreams occur during light sleep. To prevent dream behaviors from affecting reality, the human body has a mechanism that disconnects the brain from muscles during light sleep. This means that sleepwalkers typically don't remember dreams associated with their sleepwalking episodes. But Chen Xuan's case was markedly different. He began to have the same dream repeatedly, which was initially vague but became increasingly clear over time. In the dream, Chen Xuan found himself in an environment as vast and silent as the universe, with no ground in sight, save for a mysterious door standing alone. Every time he was about to open that door, he would wake up with his heart racing, as if his body was instinctively preventing him from uncovering the secret behind it. During this period, Chen Xuan's physical condition deteriorated rapidly, making it impossible for him to continue his high-intensity work. He had to resign and took 2 months off to recuperate. On the night before he was due to start his new job, Dream Chen finally opened that mysterious door. The sight behind the door left Chen Xuan stunned. It was an office environment strikingly similar to the large company he had just left, with expressionless people sitting at densely packed workstations, all focused intently on their keyboards. Following his intuition, Chen Xuan navigated through this strange yet familiar environment, eventually discovering an empty workstation. Oddly enough, the computer at the workstation was extraordinarily familiar to him. It was his own. The next morning, Chen Xuan arrived at his new company to report for duty with mixed emotions. To his surprise, the workstation in reality was identical to what he had seen in his dream. This eerie coincidence made Chen Xuan question whether he was truly awake or still trapped in a dream. About 2 weeks later, that mysterious dream revisited him. This time, Chen Xuan not only opened the door and found his workstation in the dream, but also sat down and began coding. From that day forward, this dream became a constant in Chen Xuan's life. Every night, he would dream of passing through that door and sitting at his workstation, writing code. Even more unsettling was that every morning when he woke up, Chen Xuan would find a new file on his computer desktop. The file contained a complex code he had never seen before, presenting an extremely sophisticated logical structure, as if it were part of some vast program. These mysterious codes had no connection to Chen Xuan's daily work, yet they existed tangibly on his computer. In addition to these mysterious code files, Chen Xuan's bank account inexplicably received a sum of money every month. The source of this money became another unsolvable mystery. Chen Xuan began to wonder if these strange phenomena indicated some force beyond reality controlling his life. As these incredible experiences continued to occur, Chen Xuan began to deeply question the world he inhabited. He couldn't help but wonder, could this world be nothing more than an enormous virtual game? Was there a team behind the scenes, controlling this game, hidden behind that mysterious door? While this idea might sound absurd, it could explain many phenomena that defy common sense. If our world truly is a virtual game designed by some advanced intelligence, then everything seems to make sense. Could Darwin's theory of evolution be merely an upgrade patch for this game, designed to suppress human speculation about a creator? Could all the history, geological ages, and origins of the universe we know just be pre-written, shared memories for all of humanity? Under this hypothesis, the code Chen Xuan wrote during his nightly sleepwalking episodes might be constructing part of this virtual world. He had unwittingly become a programmer for this vast system, responsible for shaping the reality we perceive. Although this theory seems far-fetched, it provides us with a fresh perspective to view reality. It challenges our fundamental understanding of the world, forcing us to reconsider the essence of existence. If this hypothesis holds true, then what we consider reality might be nothing more than a carefully designed illusion. And true reality could be far more complex than we can imagine. To further explore this unsettling yet fascinating hypothesis, let's turn our attention to some peculiar cases from the real world. These cases seem to suggest that sleepwalking might indeed be a mysterious channel to another world. First, let's recall an interesting story from when Trump was still a real estate tycoon. He once purchased a painting for a six-figure sum, and the artist of this painting was a sleepwalking painter, Lee Hadwin. Now 46 years old, Lee Hadwin is just an ordinary caregiver when awake, with no knowledge of painting. However, when he enters a sleepwalking state, he transforms into a genius artist. Born in Wales, Lee Hadwin started showing symptoms of sleepwalking around the age of 4. Initially, he would just wander around his room, but later he began to scribble on walls. Doctors at the time believed this was just a common temporary issue in children, with about 1/5 of children experiencing sleepwalking that would naturally disappear as they grew older. However, Lee Hadwin's condition did not improve as expected. Instead, his scribbles became increasingly complex as he aged. Lee Hadwin's artistic talent reached an astonishing height when he was 15 years old. One morning, he woke up to find 3 portraits of Marilyn Monroe in his room. The quality of these paintings was so high that he found it hard to believe he had completed them while sleeping. It's worth noting that his art grades in school had always been D or E level. These 3 portraits were later acquired by the Marilyn Monroe Museum for $4,000, which was undoubtedly a great recognition of their artistic value. Lee Hadwin's case attracted the attention of many psychologists, artists, and neuroscientists. However, the academic community was divided in their explanations of this phenomenon. Some neuroscientists and artists suspected Lee Hadwin of faking it, believing it impossible for someone to create such exquisite works while asleep. Most people who had interacted with Lee Hadwin also had a poor impression of him, considering him flamboyant, boastful, and easily jealous of others. Another group of psychologists tended to attribute Lee Hadwin's condition to dissociative identity disorder. They speculated that there might be 2 completely different personalities in Lee Hadwin's brain, one being the ordinary, somewhat flamboyant caregiver in daily life, and the other being a sensitive and artistically gifted painter that emerged during his sleep. This case raises a profound question. Are there hidden talents lurking in our subconscious that we have yet to discover? Can sleepwalking truly open the door to these hidden abilities? The answers to these questions may be more complex and fascinating than we imagine. If Lee Hadwin's case can still be explained by dissociative identity disorder, the next case is even more perplexing, challenging our basic understanding of human body functions. Neurologists at the University of Zurich Medical School documented a surprising case. A 38-year-old woman, whom we'll call Miss C, suffered from Parkinson's disease. This condition caused her hands to shake uncontrollably, and she frequently fell while walking, requiring a cane and caregivers for daily activities. However, 8 years after her diagnosis, Ms. C also developed sleepwalking symptoms. Every morning, Ms. C would find her mouth and hands smeared with chocolate. Clearly, she had gone to the kitchen to eat chocolate during her nocturnal sleepwalking episodes. This phenomenon was strange enough on its own. How could a severe Parkinson's patient move as freely as a normal person at night? To solve this mystery, doctors installed surveillance cameras in Ms. C's room. Soon after, they witnessed shocking footage. In her sleepwalking state, Ms. C seemed completely free from the constraints of Parkinson's disease. She could get out of bed and walk normally, effortlessly pick up chocolate and put it in her mouth, with smooth and fluid movements that were a stark contrast to her daytime self. Even more puzzling was that although doctors later successfully cured Ms. C's sleepwalking, her Parkinson's symptoms showed no improvement whatsoever. This case forced scientists to reconsider the mechanisms of brain function. They speculated that during the sleepwalking state, the areas of the brain responsible for movement and spatial perception might enter a special state of excitement, temporarily overcoming the motor disabilities caused by Parkinson's disease. Ms. C's case inevitably leads us to ask, is there a hidden superpower within us that can only be activated under specific conditions? While this idea sounds like science fiction, the next case seems to further validate this possibility. This is an incredible experience that happened to an 18-year-old high school student named Rachel. At the time, Rachel was taking a dance exam. After the first day of the exam, exhausted, she went to bed early. However, around 11 p.m. that night, her mother was awakened by a scream. Her mother ran to the window and looked out, and the sight that greeted her was terrifying. Rachel was lying motionless on the grass below. Rachel's parents immediately rushed downstairs to find their daughter in a semi-conscious state, able to converse with her parents, but not fully awake. It wasn't until Rachel was taken to the hospital that she truly regained consciousness. Surprisingly, when she learned that she had just jumped from a 7.6-meter-high window, she was as shocked as her parents. Even more incredibly, after a series of detailed examinations, including CT scans and X-rays, doctors were amazed to find that Rachel had not suffered a single fracture. Rachel's father recalled that his daughter seemed to have landed feet first on a low shrub before falling onto the lawn, and then her body rolled forward on the grass, the entire process as skillful as an experienced parkour athlete. This amazing body control exhibited in her sleep far exceeded Rachel's normal athletic abilities. What's even more surprising is that the next day, Rachel not only wasn't affected by this accident, but participated in her dance exam with high spirits and achieved an excellent A grade. This case once again raises a deeper question. Does our subconscious possess some extraordinary abilities that we cannot access in our waking state? These perplexing sleepwalking cases all seem to hint at the mysterious veil of human potential. Although neuroscientists, psychologists, and doctors still cannot fully explain the phenomenon of sleepwalking, biologists have proposed an intriguing explanation. They've noticed that sleepwalking appears to have a strong genetic component. More surprisingly, sleepwalkers often display extraordinary motor abilities in their sleepwalking state. Recall the previous cases. Rachel could protect herself like a professional parkour athlete, Parkinson's patient Ms. C could move normally, and the ordinary caregiver Lee Hadwin transformed into a genius painter. Could these phenomena have some mysterious connection to evolution? Biologists point out that the state of half sleep, half alertness, is not uncommon in the animal kingdom. The most typical example is the goldfish. From a human understanding of sleep, goldfish seem to be in a constant state of sleepwalking. They sleep while still being able to swim to the surface to breathe. This ability is crucial for survival. Another interesting phenomenon is that about 15% of children have experienced sleepwalking, but this percentage drops to less than 4% in adults. This data seems to align with the triune brain hypothesis in evolutionary psychology. This theory suggests that the human brain is composed of 3 layers, each representing a different stage of evolution. The innermost layer, including areas like the brainstem and cerebellum, is called the reptilian brain. This is our most primitive brain part, storing basic survival instincts like hunger and sexual desire. The middle layer, including areas like the hypothalamus and hippocampus, is called the old mammalian brain. This layer is responsible for memory, emotions, and basic motor skills. The outermost layer is the cerebral cortex, called the new mammalian brain. This layer controls our higher cognitive functions, such as thinking, language, and imagination. According to this theory, when we enter deep sleep, the outermost new mammalian brain temporarily shuts down, but the inner layers of the old mammalian brain and reptilian brain don't completely cease functioning, they're just locked by some mechanism. In children, this locking mechanism hasn't fully matured, which might explain why children are more prone to sleepwalking. This theory provides us with a fresh perspective to understand sleepwalking. When a person is in a sleepwalking state, it might be that the more primitive, more instinctive self within them temporarily takes control of the body. This primitive self might possess abilities that we normally can't access, agile like apes with the drawing talent of primitive humans, or even like some marine mammals, able to keep half the brain asleep while the other half remains active. While this explanation might sound incredible, it offers a new perspective for understanding human potential. It suggests that hidden in our genes might be some superpowers from ancient times. These abilities are suppressed by our rational thinking in daily life, only breaking through their limitations temporarily under special circumstances, like during sleepwalking. If this theory holds, then sleepwalking isn't just a sleep disorder. It might be a window into our inner world, allowing us a glimpse of the tip of the iceberg of human potential. This idea inevitably reminds us of Chen Xuan's experience. Could the door he crosses in his dreams be the entrance to this hidden inner world? Returning to Chen Xuan's story, we can't help but wonder, can his experiences also be explained by this evolutionary theory? Or has he truly touched upon some more profound, more transcendent existence? Could the complex codes that Chen Xuan writes every night in his dreams be a manifestation of some primitive wisdom in his subconscious? Perhaps, deep in our genes, there lies a wisdom far more advanced than we imagine, just suppressed by modern civilization in our daily lives. The sleepwalking state might be the moment when this primitive wisdom briefly awakens. However, this explanation seems insufficient to fully account for Chen Xuan's encounters. The mysterious door, the strange office eerily similar to his former company, and the mysterious funds appearing in his bank account monthly, all these go beyond the realm of purely biological explanations. Should we consider a bolder hypothesis? Perhaps Chen Xuan has truly touched upon some higher level of reality? Maybe, as he suspects, the world we inhabit is indeed a carefully designed virtual game. And Chen Xuan, through some means, has become an unconscious programmer for this game? While this hypothesis sounds far-fetched, it seems to explain all the anomalous phenomena Chen Xuan has experienced. It could even explain why some people exhibit extraordinary abilities in a sleepwalking state. Perhaps these abilities are innate to us, just limited by the game rules, only able to temporarily break through these limitations under special circumstances. If this hypothesis holds true, our understanding of reality will face a complete overhaul. The world as we know it might be just a carefully designed illusion, and true reality might be far more complex and wondrous than we can imagine. While this hypothesis is mind-boggling, it also raises a series of profound philosophical questions. If our world is truly a virtual game, who are the creators of this game? Does our free will truly exist, or is it just part of the program? Are our emotions, memories, even our entire life experiences merely preset data? Going further, if this hypothesis is true, how should we view the meaning of life? Do our struggles, our pains, our joys still have meaning? Or is it precisely because this might just be a game that we should cherish every moment and fully play this game? These questions may never have definitive answers, but they can inspire us to think deeply about life and the nature of reality. Perhaps it is this thinking itself that is the true meaning of our existence. Returning to Chen Xuan's story, we can't help but wonder, will his experiences change the trajectory of his life? Will knowing that he might be a programmer for this virtual world make him feel special or terrified? Will he try to further explore this secret, or choose to bury it deep in his heart and continue living an ordinary life? Regardless, Chen Xuan's story has opened a door to the unknown for us. It reminds us that reality might be far more complex and mysterious than we imagine. Perhaps like Chen Xuan, each of us is unknowingly playing some special role, we just haven't realized it yet. Chen Xuan's experiences, as well as the other sleepwalking cases we've discussed, all convey an important message. Our understanding of ourselves and this world might still be far from deep enough. Our subconscious, our brains, even the entire universe might be hiding mysteries we have yet to discover. These cases challenge our definitions of normal and abnormal. To some extent, they blur the boundaries between reality and illusion, wakefulness and dreams. They remind us that perhaps we should approach phenomena we can't immediately explain with a more open and inclusive mindset. At the same time, these cases provide us with a brand new perspective to examine our lives. They make us realize that each of us might possess some untapped potential. Perhaps we need to find our own door to explore that mysterious world hidden deep within us. However, we shouldn't forget that regardless of whether this world is real or virtual, our actions and choices have actual impacts. Our emotions, our relationships, our influence on others, these all exist in reality. Even if this world might be a game, we should strive to be excellent players, treating others kindly, pursuing self-growth, and contributing our part to this world. Finally, Chen Xuan's story reminds us that life is full of unsolved mysteries. We should maintain our curiosity and spirit of exploration, dare to question and dare to think. Perhaps one day, we will truly be able to lift the mysterious veil of this world. But before that, let us cherish the present and enjoy this possibly virtual but immensely real journey of life. After all, whether this world is real or not, our experiences, our feelings, the connections we build with others, these are all real and precious. Perhaps it is these that constitute the true meaning of our existence.